listening to Am I the Bolcast, the only Magic the Gathering podcast that drops bi-weekly on a Tuesday that features me and two other co-hosts. And now you can't argue with that because these are just absolute facts. I'm your host, Mike Carosa. I'm behind the column Am I the Bolus over at commandersherald.com. And I am joined, as always, in the same room across two different countries by Michael Solani, a.k.a. Games Freak SA. Hi, Michael.
I don't believe you. There has to be another podcast that has three people and drops bi-weekly on a Tuesday that talks about card games. It can't just be us.
I said specifically featuring us.
Featuring us?
Yeah.
I thought you said featuring two other people.
No. Me and two other people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So are you on any other podcast that drop bi-weekly on a Tuesday?
Nope. The only one. And no one can take that away from us, Michael. I swear to God, Jesus himself, and all the other gods. Theros gods.
Name three of them.
Which ones?
Any three Theros gods.
Oh, Mogus, Keranos, and Farika? Why did you pick those ones?
Why did you pick the crap ones?
I don't know. Hey, what, you take that back. Keranos and Mogus rip. Okay.
Asa has entered the chat.
What does Keranos even do?
Xenagos?
Keranos does cool stuff. God, guys, our producer's also a genius, and she's here on the show with us today. And always, every time. Morgan Sanchez also joins us. Hi, Morgan.
Hey, Mark. You know, I'm so old and into this game. I remember when creatures were not enchantments.
Seinfeld theme song, cause Morgan's doing a bit from the thing. Remember? Anyway, I'm off my ass today. I'm on one today, I'll tell you. And guys, help me.
You're on like 50 milligrams of Dayquil right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I might have accidentally done the nighttime one. I'm not going to lie to you. I might have taken the nighttime one with an energy drink. Guys,
that one has guaifenesin in it.
Guaifenesin. That's a beautiful name for a little girl.
You'll be seeing Erebos.
You name
very
your little
soon.
girl after an expectorant?
What?
Yeah, that's what the drug does. It breaks up mucus and makes you cough. It's an expectorant.
Well, I didn't know that. I just thought it sounded pretty.
Hold on, let me Google that really quickly in case we need to.
Guaifenescent?
Yeah. Oh, thank God, that is what it is. Oh, thank God.
I think you're thinking of Guafa Hazid, a Magic the Gathering card, and we're back. Guys, hello and welcome to Am I the Bolcast, the only podcast that is hosted by us about Magic the Gathering. And
give it time.
Oh, God. Hey, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I have such a dumb headache. And I am ripping through feelings right now. Okay,
Speaking
I'm excited.
Of ripping.
You
Maybe.
talking
what
about
did you do?
ripping veins?
I'm thinking that maybe, have you thought about?
Have I thought about what?
Vein Ripper. As a solution to your problems. Our Lord and Savior, Vein Ripper.
I have kept an eye on the old card sphere looking for a copy for you, but I didn't find one, but I didn't need to because I think you have an update for us.
So, the conclusion comes in Act 2 for me in this, which is brilliant because I've been waiting for this.
An Act 2 conclusion.
Act 2 finale. Just season ender.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Dune Part 3.
Damn!
The lovely Bellringer 87 has sent me a foil copy of Vein Ripper on Card Sphere. Not the white Vein Ripper, but the black one.
Non-dossier.
This is a black card.
Do you have it on the desk? Is it right near you?
Absolutely
not.
not.
You have it near you enough?
It's definitely real,
It's
though.
already in a deck and isn't... Okay.
I'm slowly building up to my vampire assassin deck because if there's one thing I love, it's big black cards that do nasty stuff and have banging flavor text.
What happened to Bellringers 1 through 86?
He's decimated them all. He's ripped their veins. He's sent cards to everyone on that list and took the 87th spot.
That ring a bell?
Am I crazy?
LAPD? Get on those cold cases.
Uh-oh. Wait a second. Is this a matter of like Vein Ripper flavor text?
No, we're doing like a true crime bit right now.
Bellringer 1. Oh, God. I have to Google stuff to have a conversation right now. Bell
you don't know
ringer
what true crime
186.
is? Don't you have a
It should make you
podcast
feel
on
young.
true crime?
No,
should
I
make you
don't
feel
have a
young.
podcast about true crime. Why?
You
What's
have one on The Bachelor.
Not anymore. We changed it to rom-coms.
That's just as strange.
I have to watch What Women Want after this. Anyway, look, we're not here to talk about rom-coms starring a monster. We're here to talk about Magic the Gathering. And congratulations,
Hold on,
Morgan.
hold on.
What?
Can we talk about rom-com starring a monster?
Nope. Anyway, we're gonna keep talking about Magic the Gathering. Michael, I don't think you get it. We spend so much time off the top now that people are like, well, I think they got to get to the interview quicker. And then at the end, we're like, let's have another entire podcast at the end of this. Like, we got to get to the meat and potatoes so we get to talking about the card stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I want to tell you that I'm excited because it has been a couple of weeks since Fallout has come out, and we're in the throes of Thunder Junction previews, I'm sure, by now. But I finally figured out what I want to do with Fallout stuff, and I found a lot of the stuff I want to do is making Secret Commander decks. And my first one is I've decided to combine Ariete and Three Dog as my Secret Commanders in again Arcanum Weaver deck, and it's just like this weird mess of making a bunch of tapped and attacking tokens so I can sacrifice whatever aura is on Three Dog, like all that glitters and Atali's Favor, and I can make just a bunch of different copies of them. And I'm excited about this idea. And so that's what I've been up to with Fallout. Have either of you guys been gripped by anything from the Fallout set?
Well, let me pull up the architect real quick of this deck that you've sent me.
Well, okay, it's not done yet.
Oh my god, you have to cut 47 cards?
Yes, what do you think? It's still me making the deck, Michael. I don't just get to 100 and think that's it. No more cool cards exist. You know what? You should even see my considering list. I cut away the considering list because I was embarrassed because I have 40 more cards in that. I'm almost at 200 cards considered for this deck. And you know what? I don't even care. I don't care.
Can you explain to me why Bedlam is in this deck?
Yeah, I don't know why
it's
either.
It's a 2/red enchantment that says creatures can't block.
Well, yeah, because then, I could attack with Three Dog without worrying about it, but then all my tapped and attacking creatures that all of a sudden have all that glitters or, destructive urge or like ethereal armor get through without worrying about any blockers. I don't know. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good to put that in as a surprise. Uh-oh, it's in my graveyard. Surprise, tap Gen. Get Bedlam out. Now guess what?
Why don't you just use invasion plans?
Yeah, I know. It's just Bedlam's such a dumb little card. I've always wanted to put it somewhere, and I thought I had it. But invasion plans is so much better.
I just took that off the top. I just remembered that card existed.
Attacking player chooses how each creature blocks, and each creature blocks whenever able.
Yeah, so you get to choose that they don't block.
No.
And then you get to choose everyone else blocks.
They have to block whenever able.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I must be thinking of Grand Melee or something like that. I don't know. There's
Really?
like 5 of them that do the same thing.
No,
but like slightly different.
Either way, I thought Bedlam was a fun include in this idea of a deck. Either way, I think I'm having fun. I think Fallout's got a lot going for it, and I have been scouring Cardsphere for, copies of stuff that I can't find at no stores right now. Nuka-Cola vending machine, anybody? That's on my want list right now, and I keep looking at it like somebody's gonna post theirs up, like I'm about to snatch something, but
Look,
I gotta
guys,
give it time.
If you want a shout out on the show, all you have to do is sell Mike whatever he asks for.
Yeah.
And then you will be shouted out by name. That is a guarantee.
Hey, we could talk on the phone if you want to, and then you'll be the one trying to hang up on me.
Hey, speaking of the phones, hey Morgan, is anyone on that thing?
The switchboard we got here?
Yeah.
No, the phone.
The phone. There's no phones in the office.
I think you'd be able to see if someone was on the switchboard, physically.
Right.
They'd be sitting on it.
We've got blinking lights on the switchboard.
Oh, well, that's good. Let's turn up that ringer and make the blinking lights make more sense. Let's get to this call then. All right, looks like we got a caller on the line. Caller, who am I speaking to today?
Hello, this is Kurohitsuki.
Kurohitsuki.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking.
Well,
How's it going on over
Kurohitsuki,
there?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have you on this show. I'm looking forward to getting into it. Before we do, am I correct in saying that I know you from Twitch and Twitter as a Magic the Gathering personality?
Yes, so I am a Magic the Gathering, mainly commander, casual commander, internet personality, as it were. And yeah, I just love getting some spell table games in as many times as I can every week, and just experiencing everyone's love for the game,
Fantastic.
which will which might be a part of the topic tonight.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
do you want to just get right on into that? It sounds like you
Yeah,
know
we
you have
can.
you have a through line. We don't even have to. I think this is gonna be a subject heavy top end, and then we're gonna like jam it out at the end and see what's going on. Well, so the love of the game triggered you saying is gonna be something we talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Ooh, spicy already.
So, yeah, no, it's and I it's something that I analyze myself kind of every now and then. And I definitely want to ask ask it, am I the Bolas? Maybe I need an outside perspective on this. So
Okay.
like I love EDH. I find it's like the at least for me and just the people I've interacted with
Mhm.
is the best way to express people's love for many different parts of Magic. I have like 50 commander decks.
You got
I
a
think
lot
I'm
of them
actually, like,
behind
at
you. I can
48.
see them.
Yeah, and like in each and every one of them, except for one, I love. I can look them out at any time
Except for
and
one.
like no, yeah, Burkrag is the one I hate the most. I'm able to play them at any time as if I like just built them yesterday, and I love all of them. I connect to the commanders like just from the lore,
Love that.
from just like their cool abilities, blah blah blah. Like I am dedicated to them. And when I get to play Commander against other players, I kind of like looking for the same thing, like whatever it is about Magic that you like, show me like your spicy deck. Whenever I have people
Okay.
on for the show, I don't go like, oh, give it your most powerful deck or something like that. And most I just say like, hey, we're power level 6 to 8, whatever that kind of means to you. And Soul Ring's fine, but like Jewel Lotus shouldn't be in like every opening hand sort of thing. And but really like I just tell people to bring their spiciest deck, right? Like what is it that they want to bring to the table that they have laughed with the most, right? Their opponents have laughed playing against it, they've laughed playing it. That's the vibe that I always want to bring to the table.
Spicy and laughter, 2 words.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
will I mean already we're dealing with
Mhm.
subjective terminology.
Yeah.
And I love that is what you're looking for. You're looking for what it means to that person.
Yes.
So it does feel like you're angling to get a game in with the person rather than the deck, which I see.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right. So on to my question.
Please.
Am I the Bolas?
Hit me.
I have an utter hatred
Woo.
for group hug decks.
Woo.
I do not like them. I do not like them, Sam. I do not like group hug decks. Now,
Oh wow.
this is probably like where my my toxic trait comes out in terms of like the decks that I play, or at least like how I like to play Magic. One, I don't function well with decks that give things like to enemy players. Not something I do well.
I see.
Now, mind you, in the game,
Mm-hmm.
I am all about like the politics. I stick to every deal I make. If
Yeah,
it's
of
just
course.
like I'm not going to attack you. I made that deal, even if I'm gonna lose. Like that's what we've determined. Like
Right.
so, I don't break any deals or anything like that. And during the actual gameplay, I'm down for like, hey, listen, I'll help you draw a card because I have like Baby J style or
Right,
something
right.
like that. But that's like in the game. That's you're doing the best you can to survive, as just like as the cards lay. But group hug is like a declaration from the beginning to the end of the game that like no matter how well or poorly you built your deck, it basically doesn't matter.
Okay.
For example, a couple months ago, there was a player who said like, okay, I just built this deck and I kind of want to test it out, right?
Okay.
I'm like, okay, and I think I was playing at the card store. Or one of the players went, okay, like I have a group hug deck. or I have just like kind of a normal deck and blah 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 blah. Now my mind was just like, okay, well, if someone just built a deck, if you have a group hug deck, you've basically not learned anything about your deck, right?
Right,
If someone's
exactly.
putting lands into your hand,
That's
you
my
have
reaction to
zero. Right, yeah, you have zero context if you've put enough land in your deck. You have zero context if you put enough draw in your deck, enough interaction, blah 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 blah. But that person instead immediately went, "Oh yes, I'd love that." Like because then then I get to like play the deck and everything. I'm just like, I like that. It's truly just a difference in perspective because when I build my Magic decks, like I spend a lot of time on them. I love them very dearly,
same.
and I spend a lot of time on them when I first make them, and I'm trying to craft a well constructed description of myself and my relationship with this card that I am expressing to you through this game of Magic, right? Like this is me. This is like the mistakes and the triumphs that I've made that I am trying to show to you. And if I beat you, that's great because that was like through my effort. If you beat me, that's completely fine. I don't take the losses personally. That's fine. You spoke to me, I spoke to you, and this is just like how it happened. That's great. But when there's group hug and someone makes me draw 5 cards, it's like, ugh. I mean, like, cool. Like, as that game is, cool. I drew 5 cards.
Right.
But my personal joy, or at least one of the factors of the joy I get out of the game, is kind of just thrown out the window. My conversation with you and the other 2 players isn't really a conversation anymore. We're just kind of throwing cards around, and like that's not the same how it is for others, right? And that's completely fine. However, I do focus the group hug player to death.
Okay,
because they ruined my game.
I see.
Right? They ruined my fun.
I see.
And boy, howdy, do they squirm? And it definitely depends on like the experience of the group hug player.
For sure, yeah.
I'll know this, like, if they've been playing Magic and Commander for years, most, like, honestly, I run into more group hug players now who are just like, yeah, I get it, right? Because they've probably run into other people like this or whatever. And typically a good enough player to know what it is they're doing.
Right.
Okay, like, I'm on to you. Okay?
A group hug deck is a long game.
I see you.
Is what it is.
Oh god. Well, yeah. Oh, we'll get to that part. But it's like I kind of I do see the part where they are technically gaining more than like the rest of us,
right?
Which I'm okay with that part. The fact that like someone, ideally the person who's playing, is getting more out of something than the others. I like those type of group hug decks.
I do too, but I do think it's interesting that those decks tend to not be centered in black when that feels like the blackest thing that you could do.
You would imagine.
Yeah.
I think like the funnest group hug deck I've played against in recent memory is a new Rocco.
Oh yeah. Very fun.
And it's because it's so very clear that you are gaining while this like kind of not minuscule, but like you're giving everyone like a little like 0.7 of a card, but like you're getting like a 1.2. And that's very clear. And I love new Rocco.
Rocco's on the roster of cards that the list of commanders that you keep looking at going, which one am I going to tinker with next?
Right. Yeah. Yes, for sure. But yeah, when it comes down to just like Kineos in Tiro decks, right? And it's just like everyone, like plays 2 extra lands per turn and draws 3 extra cards and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, very rarely do I run into people who the Kineos and Tiro deck are actually the ones making more use of those cards. It's always someone else at the table who's absolutely running away with the game, right? Because their deck was already like built well enough, and you're just adding to it. Whereas the Kineos and Tiro deck had to take out like probably 5 win cons in order to put in Howling Mine and Force Fruition and all those stupid green cards that lets everyone put extra lands in the play. Like instead of running your own Cultivate, you said that everyone gets to put in 3 lands. Those decks end up being like second or third place while they're still enabling everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always one other person at the table, like the dragon deck at the table, who is no longer restrained by the fact that like all their cards cost 7+.
Right.
And instead they get to play that 7+ creature on turn 4. And it's your fault.
A dragon deck like, getting to be on the same curve as an elf deck is not. It's not the same, you know.
Right, and it just takes away that part of Magic where it's just like, okay, like as a dragon deck, how do you make sure that you don't just get trounced by every elf deck that walks by? Like, what cards did you put in to make sure that happened? Oh, you put in a Crux of Fate. You put in, X, Y, and Z. Deal damage to non-dragons, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, you put in that effort, and it costs you a turn. It costs you playing a dragon in order to board wipe it so that you can, like, play the dragon next turn with, like, no creatures on the board.
It costs you another dragon in deck building.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But now with the group hug deck, it's like, well, you just got, God, why do I need a board wipe when I could just put in 5 dragons? Like, I guess I'll just do that instead. And it's just like, well, that's not how this was supposed to go. Like 7 mana was supposed to mean something, and now it doesn't. And it's not even due to you; it's due to someone else who isn't even winning.
Well, I'll say as someone, so like the last game I ended up playing at Commander Sealed in August was against Lenny Woolley's group hug deck, and we were a bigger pod. I think we were like 5 or 6 people in a pod.
Oh my god!
And look, I'll tell you what. I was playing my baby. I was playing my Lizolda the Blood Witch deck, the Rakdos sacrifice deck, and I love her. She's so fun. It's a ridiculous. I just love that deck. It's my favorite deck, and the fact that I don't get to have such turbocharged elements to it because it's Rakdos. I'm not about to make the most mana on turn 2. But, there I was, and come turn 4, I'm the one running away with it. I've got sack outlets and Zulaport Cutthroat and a mana echoes and a way to keep making tokens and sacrifice them and then, all that stuff. And that's the kind of thing that wouldn't happen so early, right? And so part of it is like, hey, it's cool to see this deck being able to go toe-to-toe with another deck that is known to win a lot quicker at the table.
Right.
But at the very same time, I won that game, and I felt like, well, the group hug helped a lot.
Right.
So
it basically carried the game kind of for you.
Yeah, I agree that the group hug deck I think group hug is something that you play with trusted folks. I feel like that's something that you can get away with. Is like there's one guy who's got a group hug deck in your group who's like, I'll play it every now and then if we need to like have a last game. Or we needed to go fast. Hey, there's a place for group hug deck. There's even, podcasts dedicated to this. The EDH Social Contract is a podcast where they talk about group hug decks almost exclusively, and they've got really cool ideas. There's a lot of cool group hug stuff out there, but nobody can blame you for not being into it. I get the idea of like, I have to earn my victory. I have to earn my game actions. I have spent all this time making this work on its own without working with in the deck building. You're working with opposition as opposed to assistance. So I definitely understand where your frustration with group hug decks come from, for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, cutting back to that game, I did not feel like I really won that one. I did.
You did, but like, did you
win? No.
Right. No. Or did the deck just kind of like, I spilled cards on the table and I had enough mana to cast them all on turn 2, so like, I guess.
Yeah. I guess the real win was that I played Totentants from the then new set.
What? Yeah. Whoa, an X spell won you the game after someone let you put 5
not
lands
the Swarm.
into play?
I played the uncommon legend.
Oh, the actual guy?
Yeah, I played the guy. You sacrifice thing, get a rat, sacrifice a rat, get another, you play another guy.
You just had all the pieces out that early. Yeah.
That was the win, but it's like, I'm not going to be able to have all my sack pieces out there without it being like, hey, Braids Conjurer Adept is out here. All right. Everybody put something down.
Oh my god, blue Braids. So, and I will always be the first to mention to someone that like their deck is the best, most fun time I've ever had playing against it. I just played, I want to say last month, my favorite Blue Braids deck ever. And it was, honestly, it came down to how the person played, because like it was a regular game of Magic. Of like, I'm playing my rocks and doing blah blah blah. So other person's doing that, blah blah blah. The Blue Braids player didn't play Blue Braids until late game, where it's just like, okay, well, late game, I've gotten like all of every 5 is a mana value, and less card is already out on the field because that's how the game. Okay, Braids. Now I just have that. Now everyone's just like, okay, I have like this 1 8-drop I didn't cast yet. But the Blue Braids player had 2 8-drop spells. So not only did they get to put one of those into play for free, but they also got to cast that other, like the other card in their hand too, right? Like they were winning in the top end because they were outvaluing people, because their deck was built to have kind of bigger things later.
Sounds
in
like
the game.
someone who knows their deck, something that you value.
Oh my god,
you value that considerably.
Like, objectively, that was, not only was it one of my favorite group hug decks I've ever played against, but like easily the best Blue Braids experience I've ever had, because it was, it was losing to a really well constructed deck, I guess, or at least like it felt that way. It kind of just came off that way. Versus, and it wasn't even like just hardcore losing, right? Like they
just had more value.
They had enough mana to play one of those spells. They just happened to be able to play 2, and like that's just kind of like that value that you get at the end, and it was really cool.
Were there any other group hug pieces besides Braids?
Not necessarily. I think it is hard to remember.
So would that be considered a group hug deck then? You know what I mean?
I mean that's true. That is a question of itself. Like, is the commander enough to warrant that this is a group hug deck, or is it just a value blue card? Like it could have just been in the 99 technically, right? And that's also very true. So maybe that's why that's why you like deck I ever played, because it wasn't group hug.
Yeah, your favorite group hug deck is ostensibly just not a group hug deck. It's a single group hug card that comes out late. That they
My
take
favorite group hug
of.
deck was an enabler for one person to get 2 free cards for everyone else's 1 free card. Yeah, you're right. That does explain a lot. Oh, but what I was saying before, you can kind of like tell how long someone's been playing. An older player will recognize that they are a problem, and that not everyone likes group hug, and I am attacking them because of it, and they will take it on the chin. I love it. I love all the people who I play group hug Magic against on my streams have pretty much always universally like understood, and like,
well, you
at the very least, no, you do.
Got
and
your
at the very
promoters
least,
and
like
detractors. If someone you're gonna have people that are gonna love the group hug decks, you're gonna have people that hate it. Same with stats.
I'm a hater.
You're a hater.
If there's one hater left of group hug, it's me.
Kurohitsuki, a hater.
Yeah. But newer players, 100% are like, but why are you attacking me? I like let you draw 2 cards with Howling Mine, and then I stare at them in their beady eyes, and I say, right, but you also gave 2 of my opponents 2 more cards, and that one played a 7-drop dragon on turn 4, and it's your fault, and I can't beat that. So I'm going to attack the one person I can beat, because you didn't play any creatures. You played too many Howling Mines, and you're open. So I'm attacking you. I'm going to take one person out here.
No,
and this is the person who ruined my game.
Everybody gets a
oh my god, oh my god, I hate them so much. I hate those cards. It's never the person who played the Primal Vigor. Not never, but like it is.
I mean, the only time I've seen a Primal Vigor get used well was, I think, in a Feldegriff deck with Dingus Staff or whatever the kill.
Right, a Dingus Hager. Like, yeah, you if you have a combo assembled and basically all you did was play a card that said you get 2 tokens and then you went off with that, that's great. But when someone plays Primal Vigor on turn 5 and then passes, what the hell are you doing? now there's 5 dragons out because someone's playing Mimir, whatever.
Miram, yeah.
Mimir. I want to forget about that card. But like,
who doesn't want to forget about that card? Players who play Miram.
But that's
right.
always what it is, right? It's just like Primal Vigor turn 5, and it's just like, are you winning off of this? No, Primal Vigor turn 5, and then Kineos and Tiro turn 6. It's just like,
huh?
Cool. What? Why did you do this then?
Yeah, wrong order
like,
too. Why would you do it like that, you weirdo?
I don't know, because they played, you know,
they played
Righteous Spring. I don't know.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, all of them.
And this is a call out.
There's a call out for group hug decks.
This is a call out to group hug players, and they
Mike and
Lapper
have to defend themselves.
They know who they are when I say this. Oh my god! If I see one mana enchantment that gives all creatures haste, I'm going to flip. Okay.
Which one do you hate more, the red one or the green one?
The green one. Concordant Crossroads, that reprint, I was so sad. Like, I'm only ever sad to see like those sort of cards reprinted. I'm like, no, please keep that in the depths. Concordant Crossroads giving everyone haste. Now, at the very least, like if it's a green deck with Concordant Crossroads, it's probably backed up by like an elf ball deck, and they're gonna take advantage of
the fact that they're just gonna play 6 elves in one turn on turn 1.
So at least I'll die sooner, most likely, right?
Yeah.
But just still, I built my deck. And this is also just comes down to me. I don't really have haste in a lot of my deck, and I build around the fact that I don't have haste, and ideally around the fact that only maybe 2 players at the table will have haste, but maybe not all 3. Like I will put in, you know, boots to make sure like at least one thing has haste, or you know, some spell to give something haste if it matters.
I've got 1,000-year elixir out because I need to figure.
Yeah, like I'll make that happen. Like I have an Arami deck, you know, like 1 blue-black, target creature gets encore.
Yeah, from your graveyard.
Graveyard.
Love that card. I've got that deck. Love it.
Yeah, I don't need her to have haste on turn 3.
No.
I played her into an empty graveyard.
Yeah.
So then nobody attacks her, like, you know, deals with her.
But she still got a body.
And then when it becomes my turn, I dredge something, right? And then I get to like at least get one Arami trigger off. Like that's why I did it. I played around, you know, the fact that my commander doesn't have haste despite like quote unquote wanting to, right? But like now that she has haste, it's just like, well, that didn't do anything for me. I spent 3 mana to cast her. I need to have what's in my graveyard that costs like, you know, less than the mana I already did to cast her. So haste meant nothing. But boy howdy, does it always mean something to the other 3 players at the board. Always. Like 100% of the time. It's always just like, wow, I didn't expect for my my Eldrazi to have haste, but
here we go.
I guess it does now.
Oh, I guess I'm destroying a permanent and we're doing Annihilator.
Right, yeah. It's like, cool. Great. Whose fault is this? Oh, it's yours.
The group hug player. Now you have to go in at them. I think.
Yes.
As much as I do think that group hug is a valid, like it's all valid, right? It's a valid strategy. It's the cards in the game, etc. But I will say, if we're sitting down to a table, like if I'm sitting down, if I'm pulling up a chair at a table that's got a group hug deck, and they're resolved, they're like they are resolute in playing this group hug deck. They absolutely need to do it. I'm gonna be like, okay, the rest of us should pick underpowered decks and have that fun that way. Because maybe that's like, you know, the compromise, right? Like you're not gonna be like, if my deck is tuned to be an 8 and it's ready to go off at, you know, already, it's gonna be fine. Like having a group hug deck at the table is just gonna juice me and not the rest, or it's gonna juice everybody and you're gonna have to deal with all of it all at once. And the group hug player, what's their deal? They're gonna wait until everybody's got too many lands and do that like damage equal to lands thing.
I wish that was a win con I saw more often. Like, you know, damage to every one that has like you know, special lands in play. Like I wish I saw that more often. Like
a triple copy price of progress against your opponents who don't run basics.
That's like a group hug. Like listen, it's a Nekusar deck, right? I'm okay with Nekusar decks,
right?
because like the game plan's pretty straightforward, and also if I interact with that game plan, I'm actually hurting you, right?
Yeah.
Like if I destroy a Nekusar's Howling Mind, not only does the game, kind of resume some sense of normalcy, which is already what I like, but I actually did hurt like
100%.
the person that cast it.
Oh my god! If you get rid of my Nekusar, that's now I'm just giving cards away for free instead of hurting you for them. That's not what I want, right?
I'm a hater, so I'm gonna hit the Howling Mind. Stop getting my.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing about a Nekusar deck is that it's a wheels deck, so you're basically fueling hand and graveyard. It's a nightmare,
right?
But
depending on how it is.
But you go fast enough, everybody's life total is done.
Right, and still, like, I'm interacting with like the deck and what it wants to do, and if I beat it, it's because I interacted well enough.
Right.
That's awesome. And also, it's hurting my opponents too. So
how do we know that let's take for example a group hug deck piloted by an expert player that you can tell has been at it for a while. They've got a group hug deck. What makes you so you say Nekusar? I can interact with it. I can do this. I can do that. There's definitely a plan.
Right, and it's meaningful when you interact with it.
So what's the difference here with like some decks that you've seen that you're like, this is a group hug deck. There's nothing to it. What are we missing from those decks to be the deck that you're not like outright hating on just for having a Howling Mind?
If it's clear, at least enough to me, that this is part of your plan to make you win the game. If you are gaining something off of this that leads to you winning the game versus just seemingly doing it for the sake of doing it.
So let's say if you're somebody who's like, I'm a threatened deck and I want everybody to play creatures real cheap. That's okay.
Sure.
So then that'll do it. That'll set you over the top with that. Okay.
Yeah. Or like we talked about before, it's like, oh, I put a bunch of lands into play. Okay, well now Price of Progress. It's like, oh, like I that's sick. Like you outplayed us. That's fantastic. Like very well done. Okay. Or a Nekusar, right? Nekusar is like the most obvious example because like just look casually in the direction
the
you
text
know
box
what Nekusar is about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
the text box says it hurts you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or the new Rocco was just like, it was something that, like it didn't have to go super ham on group hug, right? But like I could just clearly see that they were gaining forward momentum on being just a little bit higher than their opponents without having to just go like full ham into just like, everyone get 5 lands into play and, draw 50 cards. Just for the sake of like, aren't I everyone's friend? I made you draw 50 cards.
Yeah. I think when it comes to group hug, that's the argument. That's the thing that I could do without is the
oh god, yes.
It's like, come on, we're having fun. I did something so good for you, right? And you're like,
oh my god,
you know what you're doing. Let's own up to it.
Why are you hitting me?
This is so in chaos. It's a chaos deck without the chaos cards. Is what group hug feels like.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to skip ahead to turn 8.
Right. Yeah. My group hug deck is Vazi Keen. Vazi Keen Negotiator.
Right. It does feel like Vazi Keen should be the name. I didn't realize that the comma is before Keen Negotiator. I thought it was Vazi Keen, Negotiator. Found that out last
all
week.
The time.
Oh, I just found that out. I felt so silly. Vazi Keen is Vazi Keen is the one that says you can tap it to give your an opponent an amount of treasures equal to the amount that you created this turn.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
But
right?
when an opponent casts something with a treasure, you draw a card.
Right. Whenever an opponent yes, exactly. When they cast a spell with a treasure, I put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and I get to draw a card.
And it's also activating abilities, which is important too. Okay, so anytime they spend it.
Somehow it's like not technically used for everything, but like
okay.
If they're used for casting spells and abilities, you can't just like if someone just sacrifices them to some ability, that doesn't.
Right. So for instance, if a Ruthless Technomancer comes down and you sacrifice, well then again you're sacrificing them. It's not mana from a treasure, but
is that?
So it would have to be mana from a treasure being used. I have it here. Whenever an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it or activate it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then draw a card.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems fun.
Yeah.
Even in a deck where I'm not giving away any treasures, hey, people have treasures all day.
Yeah, and it's like I'm, especially as stingy as I am, I'm rather controlled with how many treasures I give. She lets me, like, it's just equal to what I've made that turn, so I can make 2
and give
them to someone, and then keep on making more.
You don't have to dockside into here's 30.
Right, which I just don't even have dockside in the deck because I never want to give someone that many. Why would I want to give someone a literal dockside?
That's too many.
Yeah. So like that, yeah, it actually allows me to make a treasure deck where dockside's not in it because like what?
Sometimes it feels like decks get made with that as a challenge. You throw down like, what's a deck that this was? That's how my Omnath Locus of the Royal deck. I have no Soul Ring in that deck. That was how I came about that.
Yeah, completely makes sense. But yeah, it's like for me, this is a deck where it's like my goal is pretty clear. Because like in the deck I have like, okay, when an artifact comes into play, deal damage to everyone, right? Oh, like Summoning Station is like a combo I have in there, right? It's like whenever I can tap it, make a 2/2 pincher. Whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from play, I may untap Summoning Station. Cool. You want to crack a bunch of treasure to pay for a spell because I gave you a bunch?
Untap
nice.
every time.
I have,
right.
Like that's my style of like, a group hug deck where it's just like, I am using you in order, I'm giving you something. But like I am very clearly, pretty obviously, like that's part of my plan to win this game. And like, yeah, I mean that's my style. That this is like the closest to group hug I can get, where I can willingly give someone.
You won't give them just
things
anything
that might make them win.
Yeah.
But it's part of the plan. It's all part of the plan.
As far as treasures, as far as group hug goes, treasures feel like in a controlled amount just fine. They're mana acceleration, but they're limited mana acceleration, unlike the green group hug decks that tend to give lands.
Yeah. Right. Oh god, I couldn't.
I see. Well,
I could never.
I guess it's a matter like you got your preferences, and I think that people who love group hug decks aren't about to change their tune anyway. But I think I can't fault anybody for liking or not liking particular styles of play. Like,
absolutely.
We know that, some people don't like edict effects, or like repeated like Dictative Erebos stuff. That's fair, but there's somebody out there that loves a sacrifice loop. I myself, I'm a sacrifice player, but I did ditch the grave packs and whatever. But some people hate a deck that's gonna do, clone your stuff. You know what I mean? Or people hate theft decks, stuff like that. Exactly. Right, so to me, I'm just well, it's a part of the game. If you don't want to play against that, like it is what it is. But like, it's part of the game. If you don't want to play against it, we won't sit down for another one, or I'll play another deck later. It is what.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
is.
I mean, like it's just like one game.
Yeah,
right. We learn something, and then when
you can be a hater, but then also you're a human being. You're not about to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons why I'm very pro like the idea of just having like keep making commander decks. I have 48 of them.
You got them.
One, because I love them and I can't, and I can't take them apart, and I don't have to. But also, like, it does let me, like, okay, this is like the type of pod we want to have. Perfectly fine. I don't have to go to a different table. No one has to feel bad about like a certain level of deck.
Right.
Because I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
You got one. I have to
Right.
dismantle a few. I started last month with about 40, and now I'm getting closer to 25. And
Whew,
I know
dang.
I'm trying to be ruthless about it. About
That
it.
is ruthless.
A couple, look, it was easy when like 10 of them were precons. You know what I mean? So like,
Oh yeah.
I do still have the Warhammer precon sleeved up because I think that's a fun little pod to just have, and then also the Baldur's Gate precons were just exceptional. So I thought I'd keep those together. But otherwise, like it's just all decks, and then you're looking at them, you're like, I don't play this one at all. What am I doing? And then you goldfish it, and you're like, well, this is what I'm doing. I love this.
Right.
I love what this is gonna do. It's tough, but you got a lot of decks. It's very fun. Which, before we get out of here, I want to know what's a deck that you've been having a lot of fun jamming lately. What's one that comes to mind the moment I say that?
It's all of them. So many of them.
I know.
I love them all so much. I'm probably gonna play Vazikin tonight now that we've talked about it.
Hard to pick just one.
I mean, like Erebras and Aragorn, King of Gondor have been like my like this is my magic personality decks, like pretty much since they've come out.
Aragorn, King of Gondor is what you played on Shuffle Up and Play, right?
Yes,
Nice.
yes, correct. Yeah, this is the Jeskai
Good
monarchy
fun time.
type of one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think honestly, I would say Will Sign of Peace has been a fun challenge. It's just like making a deck that I guess like can prove that a character I like can be just as good as a character I don't quite care for, but also a character that I don't care for that everyone else seems to like and hate my character instead. So
are you talking about like Rowan? What's the
Rowan? Yeah. You know, I built the deck to be like, you know what, Will can be as wacky and wild as Rowan. All right. Rowan just has it easier. Losing life is a lot easier than gaining life, but I can still kick butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that challenge, it was a fun, challenging deck.
Okay.
To make, and it's still like there's still variance in it. There was a recent game at Commander Sealed.
Okay.
My recorded game at Commander Sealed, I like had Will out and I expropriated on like turn 4.
Okay.
For like 4 extra turns.
Because you're gaining life. I see. Okay.
And all I did was play 3 lands.
No, you didn't.
I swear to God.
No, you didn't.
I didn't draw a single good card. I just played 3 lands, and then on the final extra turn, I got what's the 1-drop? Sarah Ascendant. Like, but after, right? Like after all of those turns, I got to play Sarah's Ascendant and then pass turn. It was so bad.
Oh my God. Jesus.
But, yeah, like,
you're hyping up a deck so much and then going, I expropriated into 3 extra turns and did nothing with them.
Not a dang thing, but I mean, it was still. But like that's my style of deck, where it's just like I did play a super cool spell.
You did
way cheaper than normal, but like you know, it's a toss up in the air if it's gonna mean anything.
I love that the story's what's living on. That's the most important part, I think.
True.
Yeah, you got you have that memory. That's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter. Anytime you pick up that commander, even if you dismantle the deck here, you know.
I won't.
Should for some reason you decide
right.
Or even if you're just in Scryfall and you click on random card and Will Scion of Peace shows up, you're probably gonna look at it and be like, remember that expropriate that was just basically Far Wanderings with Threshold Mouth, huh?
That's right. Yeah, and I'll always remember Blue Braids. It's like, you know what? I actually did have a good Blue Braids game. It was really good. Or when I see Rocco, I'm gonna go like, this is actually my favorite group hug commander.
That's tight.
That I've ever played against. A lot of fun. And then whenever I see Glunch, I'm gonna, you know, I actually like Glunch.
Let's name all the group hug characters, and then you're also gonna be like, you know who I hate? Actually, it's pretty good. He's fine. I like it.
That is me. That is actually pretty typical of me. Once I actually start thinking about it, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I don't hate it that much.
Yeah.
But I do like Glunch. Glunch is cool. I want more cards like Glunch, where like one person doesn't gain anything. The person who cast Glunch gains the best thing that they wanted. And then the scraps are left over for 2 people. I want way more group hug cards like that.
Infighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's deals being made.
Glunch is surprisingly insidious that way. For anybody who hasn't played Glunch, enjoy a little Glunch.
Yes.
Kuro, we gotta wrap this up. I know you stream. You're on Twitter. Whatever we're gonna call it on Twitter. We're calling it Twitter at
yes, we are.
Kurohitsuki.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? What would you like them checking out?
Definitely check out the Twitch channel, which is also Kurohitsuki. I'm playing Commander games 4 times a week, like 2 pods a day.
Okay.
There's a lot of magic going on.
Nice.
But yeah, if you wanna see any of these 48 plus decks in action, or if you want to see me rant, every single time I run into a group, every time I run into a group hug deck, I will. I do it. I do it. I also like don't disallow group hug decks either, right? I'm not in any way, shape, or form like having people not play them. You know, because
but they know
I
you're
still want to know what
them.
people's expression is. Oh yeah, absolutely. they should know by now that I'm swinging at them. And at no amount of why are you hitting me I gave you this will stop me.
Nuh-uh.
Not no amount. Not
This
none
is why I'm
whatsoever.
hitting you. This is the reason.
Exactly.
Well, be sure to check out Kurohitsuki on Twitch and on Twitter. Thank you so much for calling in, Kuro, and looking forward to catching some of those games. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Wowee! Shout out to Kurohitsuki for calling in with, honestly, a banger and a controversial pet peeve. Kurohitsuki, thank you so much, so much for joining us today and having a chat about group hug decks and how you dislike them. That said, without people like Kuro, without people like you, the listener and the reader of the column, sending me stories or, pitching me ideas and coming on the podcast, like, this doesn't happen. So thank you so much for participating in this Am I the Bolcast world. And if you have a story that you want to share, send it to amithebolus@gmail.com. I will read it. Personally, I will say that I also this very week received probably the most frustrating of emails I've gotten in a while. And I'm excited for that to come out. And I believe it comes out tomorrow. Considering the release schedule, that one should come out tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that at commandersherald.com. And also shout out to everybody watching this on YouTube. I know there's no visual and it's just the podcast with our logo, but some folks really like it that way. And shout out to you. Shout out to you for listening. And shout out to when you comment. We've got Simon Teasdale in the comments saying, hooray, new episode. I'll give commentary when I'm finished. And then he's got 2 edits in here talking about if you want to be in different countries but the same room, try the Belgium-Netherlands border in the town of Barl-Nassau. Either that or there's probably some houses built on the Wales-England border. And I will say, America friggin' rules, dude. Hell no. I'm not leaving America. Oh, wowee.
You're Canadian.
What was that? Anyway, edit number 2 is about Michael's deck from the last episode where he talks about Eradicate and Spy Kit and talking about how the end is a little bit of redundancy in that, which is kind of spicy. But that said, thank you for commenting, Simon. Really appreciate you being in the fray. And thanks, everybody, for listening. This means a lot to us. Now, let's get to the voting system, and let's discuss, honestly, a real heater of an opinion, okay? This is going to be what a discussion to have, and also what an opinion to have. Surprisingly bristly. I'm very excited. I like this one.
I actually like the fact that we have one that's not just a complete gimme for once.
Oh yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
I feel like my job was being done for me in the last couple of episodes, but
we're gonna all fight.
We're gonna have a chat this episode.
I'm gonna kill a man,
and then we'll have a group hug.
Hell yeah! All right, Morgan, you're up. You got to tell the people, how does the voting break down?
All right, so keep it super fast, super quick. every time, faster, faster.
Yes.
So the vote system works. Me and Solani, we each have 1 vote, and it's worth 1 point.
Yes.
And then Mark's vote is worth 3 points, which means that our votes don't really matter, but we do it anyway because it's the bit, and we try to do it faster every time so that you can understand it and hopefully get a little bit of something new every time.
You know what? We've made it so fast that you've acknowledged that it's a bit. And you know what, folks? We're gonna slow it down so we don't acknowledge that it's a bit next time. You know what? We're gonna make it longer than it first ever was. Next time, you'll see. I don't know who the next episode is right now, but we'll see. The next episode, you'll need time to get around the voting.
You're right. You're right, Mike. If it was longer, it would be better.
That's what I'm thinking. Shut up, Solani.
Took you a while.
It takes me always so long. I don't think that way. I don't think that way so fast. Also, let me just put this out there for real quick. I'm Mark. I'm Mike Carrozza's Mark Carbanza. Same person.
Everybody knows that.
Some people write in emails. Not everybody. Some people be writing emails like, Mark, I don't know if this... Hey, Mike, I don't know
that
if
means
this
we're
is the
doing
right
it right.
to get to Mark.
They're trying to find the right person. So
I don't like it. I had a regret, and I'm living through it. Anyway, so point is, I get a vote that counts for 3. Michael and Morgan get a vote that counts for 1. Folks, it's time for us to get to the question. Morgan, how would you sum this up?
Kurohitsuki wants to know am I the bolus for having a, quote, utter hatred of group hug decks?
Damn. Michael, you're up first.
Oh, God.
Feel free to serve Dakota up on a silver platter, Solani, because I'll take a bullet. I'll take a couple bullets from our farewell tour at MagicCon.
Dakota, your boyfriend.
Yeah, the one playing that ridiculous Kenrith deck. That was not a group hug deck. No group was being hugged in that deck.
It was a group
Haha, get him.
massacre.
He hit us until we all died. That's not group hug.
Nice.
That's like the opposite of what you want to do in a Magic game. What you want to do in a Magic game is sit around and durdle doing ridiculous bullshit for 30 minutes until you accomplish it with a 4-card combo that comes out of nowhere and uses a card from Vision.
Speaking my language.
That's the way our forefathers lived their lives.
Our four papas, the four daddies.
Now everything sucks. Now everything's Fallout this and Doctor Who that and Final Fantasy
sorry.
whatever.
I'm not about it anymore. I stop you right there.
I'm just teasing you, Jesus.
No, you're not. You know I like me a little bit of Universes Beyond.
Group hug.
They get creative with their designs in that.
Group hug.
Yes.
You're not allowed to dislike an entire archetype. I'm sorry. That's just against the rules. Okay?
Okay.
I don't care if it's group hug. I don't care if it's aggro. I don't care if it's hard control. If I play a winter orb and you yell at me for that because I'm playing stacks, that's on you. All of these cards exist in the game together.
Uh-huh.
And you can discuss whether or not beforehand that's the type of game you want to play right now. But I think you need to afford the ability for all of your friends to play group hug or play stacks every once in a while, you know? It's not like those cards don't exist entirely. It's just ridiculous.
Okay. So your vote is yes, the bolus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely the bolus. Like
Morgan Sanchez, you're on the clock. What do you think of group hug?
I think that we all need a hug right now. It's past daylight savings time. We're all a little bit out there right now. Maybe it's more so me. Maybe I need a hug.
Uh-huh.
And that's why this is just like a very tactile conversation. So I'm going to try and tiptoe around, give everybody a hug.
just ASMR the rest of yours.
That would be horrible and I would hate that. But but if that's what you're into, I'm not going to judge you for it.
So what do you feel about group hug? And whether Kuro is the bolus for hating it.
Kuro mentioned that, like most Commander players, he is willing to play politics to a certain extent. And there's a give and take with that, I think, amongst like all of us when we play a game. You know, hey, I'm not going to knock you out next turn, so don't, attack me with your 100 Flampler kind of thing. But I think it gets a little messy with a group hug player specifically. I have the most experience with everybody playing mono blue braids. So that's everybody getting free stuff. And I love free stuff. Don't get me wrong. Some decks don't need free stuff. They're getting like freer stuff. And free stuff
I got it.
with decks that are just like obviously very much looking for it doesn't get fun after a while. I think that to Solani's point, hating a whole archetype is kind of mean, but I'm the type of person who builds a deck to play the cards in it, not necessarily. I don't want everybody else to play their cards too. I don't want to be too nice. I think that the person playing a group hug deck is always smug to a certain extent. I think Kuro touched on that with like the new players of like, well, why are you targeting me, bro? I gave you 4 lands last turn. Whereas the people who are a little more entrenched in it are like, yeah, I get it. Like the reason why I play this is so that people hate me. I like to feel something. So
that's a while. Okay. So yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. So your vote is that he is not the bolus.
I don't think Kuro is the bolus at all. I don't think I would conflate it with him like absolutely hating it, but nah. So
it all comes down to me. Who could have seen this coming?
It always comes down to you. You're the only one whose vote matters.
Stop giving away the bit.
You're going to get shot if you say things like that.
Am I going to get shot? I don't think.
All right, here comes the soundboard.
Michael, stop calling it out. It's me controlling it.
His hospital bills are out of control. All right.
See, the trick is, as the group hug player, I am now in control of the game.
See?
Wow.
Fell right into that trap.
Okay. You're right. I do hate that. I do hate that. Okay. Here's the thing. It is fair to not like playing against a particular archetype, but to outright hate it, just to like a blanket hating it, that's not on. Like I can't get on board with like hating it entirely. However, if the nuanced discussion I had with Kuro was any indication of the fact that it is more gray than anything, I think what he's saying is he doesn't like group hug decks that don't take advantage of their own resource, like doubling or whatever, or doesn't have like an end game plan, and those decks can go straight to hell. So I, to an extent, am with Kuro. I think group hug decks that sit at the table as just a means to speed up a game or like to hypercharge decks, that can be fun, but you can't come at it with a deck that's already like tuned for that. That's gonna like be so much more favored in a matchup like that. You have to come at it with something like, hey, yeah, after all this, I'm gonna punish you for getting greedy with your lands, or hey, I'm get all your creatures out. Guess what? Insurrection. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to take advantage of what you're giving others or what you're giving yourself in spades. So I'm with Kuro in that regard, but outright hating an archetype altogether, I can't get on board with that. Like, I don't like Stacks, but some of the games where Stacks has come up are games that I remember most. They are either absolute treks through the mud that sucked, and I remember them, or they were like a fun challenge to like the rest of the table that ended up being inspiring and made some for like really cool moments in the game. So all said and done, I think that Kuro, you're not the bolus, but you're not clean either. You know what I mean? You're not like not a little bit evil for it. I think you're a little close-minded for hating on an entire archetype and phrasing it that way. But if you want to hate on like the sliver of group hug decks that like don't have a game plan, fine. I'm with you. But group hug in general, nah, it's a valid strategy. I can't hate on a thing that brings people joy. There's an entire podcast dedicated, like the EDH Social Contract. Mike and Lapper over there, they love group hug decks. And we talked at length on that podcast about it. But I'll say, like, is it my jam? Am I looking at group hug cards and going, this is what I want to do? The closest I've come is like brewing a Nekusar list on Archidect recently and thinking, the good old days, huh? And then realizing that maybe this isn't a deck I want in paper. And then thinking, but maybe it's exactly the deck I want in paper. Anyway, I got the Secret Lair with Nekusar in it, and I'm thinking about putting it together. Point is, Kuro, not the bolus, but come on now. Check yourself, buddy. Wow, we came to a bolus. We came to, yes, a bolus, but on the scale of bolus, we're calling it like a 4. Okay?
So wait, is he the bolus or is he not the bolus?
He's a bolus, but only technically because you have to swing one way or another.
Who's confused now?
I am. I thought that was a not the bolus vote. Excellent. I win. We did it, team.
Group hug.
Michael.
Play the yay sound effect.
Yay? Okay, you got it. All right, anyway.
So
what do we got, Morgan? You wanted to bring to us an idea that you had cooking.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like a new format that stems from group hug.
Oh.
That's called group huggability. And so what I'm going to do is...
a new format. Ooh.
Yeah, it's called group huggability. And I'm going to take some top commanders from EDH Rec, and you guys are going to give me your rating on how much you would like to or not hug them.
Okay. Oh, so not more like a game.
Well, see,
more
you
like
can do that. You can make a deck out of it too if you want. That's the fun part, that you can tie that in. It all ties back in together with cardboard if you really want to make it like that.
Cardboard. All right. So hit us. We're going through the top 10 EDH Rec commanders under the group hug theme. And we're talking about what their huggability score is.
The first one, it's on the top here. I promise you. We have it at 90 decks with a card. I'm doing these at random, so we're not just going to start from the top. I don't want to make it too easy. But this card is also known by a name that our wonderful French author Arnaud Gompertz calls Blue Ass Man.
Okay, all right.
This card is Kami of the Crescent Moon.
Here come the butt boy.
Moon is right.
Hell yeah.
What do we think, boys?
For the
Okay.
viewers who can't see anything, Kami of the Crescent Moon has a gigantic ass crack right in the middle of the card.
and
He's very happy about it.
he's smiling and naked. Honestly, huggability, this is going to be on I look at this guy and think, man, this guy gives a great hug for sure. This guy gives such a good hug. I don't want to go off with a 10 right off the bat, but I think I might have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Kami of the Crescent Moon a friggin' 10. 10 out of 10. Butt boy gets a 10 from Mikey.
I don't know. I feel like it would be a bit of a sweaty hug. You know?
He is sitting at the top of that mountain.
So we get sweaty
Pretty
sometimes.
sweaty hug.
That's a vulnerable hug.
Fair?
I'm going to
Fair.
go with a 6 out of 10.
Damn, okay, that's cold. All right, Morgan, what else we got? We're going to do all 10 or are we going to do 5 of these?
We'll see what happens.
Okay, hit it. Next one.
Okay. This one should be easy.
Okay.
Or at least I hope it's easy. Quain Itinerant Meddler.
Okay.
Oh, that's the bun.
The little bunny.
That is the bun. That is the rabbit wizard.
Yeah. Wizard, yes. Michael, you want to go first on this one?
I have to give this a 9 out of 10. Some of my friends will murder me if I don't say that.
Why not a 10 out of 10?
I have to save a score for the top one. I have one in mind. No one's going to be more huggable than that one.
Oh,
But I will have to give this one a 9 out of 10 because
soft and furry.
yeah, buns are very soft and huggable.
Okay. Well, look, in this reality, am I not totally freaked out by rabbits?
Are you afraid of rabbits?
Yeah, I don't like them.
Well,
I don't
rabbits
trust
that have
bunnies.
clothes.
Okay, well, still, I mean, look, magic rabbit person, maybe I can reason. It's just the eyes freak me. Look, rabbits, I don't. My buddy's got a bunny, and I don't make eye contact with that thing. I can't. It freaks. Look, it's not.
Oh no, you're not supposed to make eye contact with them. If you do that, they steal your soul.
Michael, you joke, but it hurts to think about.
He is scared.
I am freaked out by bunnies, but I will say, if I picture fur.
If you picture Margaret Thatcher's head on it.
Okay, well then I could give this a 7 out of 10. All right, next, let's keep it going. Yeah, all right, whatever. I'm getting vulnerable on my own friggin' podcast, all right? Now you guys know something that freaks me out. Don't use it against me. Ken, bleep that one.
I'll admit, I'm not super big on rabbits with clothes. If he was just like a regular bunny that had like a hat or something cute that we'll probably end up seeing in Bloomborough, I'd be fine with it.
Fun.
That is like a person as a rabbit, and I'm afraid of it. So I would go like a solid 2 out of 10 for Quain Itinerant Meddler.
You guys are disgusting.
What was your rating for Kami of the Crescent Moon? What'd you give Kami?
Dude looks creepy to me.
Damn. Okay.
He's gonna be a 3. He's gonna be a 3 because that is a sweaty hug. That is a sweaty hug, and I'm not about it.
Okay. That was a 10 for Mikey. Not gonna lie to you. I think that hug is probably the best, and you guys are missing out. Anyway, go ahead.
Where are your standards, Morgan, in the stratosphere?
Well, this is going to be really polarizing because this is a really horny commander.
Damn.
So I'm interested to see what your guys' opinions are as to the huggability of Zedru the Great-Hearted.
Mikey, why don't you take this one first? I want to temper my response to yours.
What makes this so horny? I don't understand. Oh, the horns. Okay. All right. Well, look.
What, have you never been to Scotland?
No, I've never been to Scotland. Look, Zedru the Great-Hearted is a Minotaur monk, and she's her sleeves look weird. They're just anyway. I don't know.
I thought Zedru was a goat.
Exposed shoulders.
Zedru's a Minotaur?
That is an antelope.
I don't believe you.
To me.
Yeah, it feels like a goat instead. It's Minotaur monk. I see it right here in front of me. I'll say this looks like a standard, like a good hug, like a 7 or an 8. I'll give Zedru a 7 or 8. Those are good hugs. All right, Michael, what about you? Go for it.
I'm sorry, I'm just dumbfounded by the fact that this is a Minotaur. Really? 7 out of 10. Go to Morgan. I need to process this.
Okay, Morgan.
I'll shoot for like 5 out of 10 because Zedru probably smells good. They've got like an incense stick.
Yeah, fair.
But there's something about the fact that there are a lot of humanoid animals and things and kamis and spirits on this list, it makes it hard to hug.
All right, what do you say we do 2 more and we get out of here?
All right, so this is going to be the shoe-in. We'll save the best for second to last.
Okay.
All right.
You know what?
This is
pioneers on this podcast.
Yes.
The first podcast to save the best for second to last.
Best for second to last. Just to trip you guys up. This is the
Who do we got?
Group Hug Commander.
I know who it is.
The one.
I know who it is. Guaranteed.
Feldegriff.
Oh man, I was wrong. I thought you were gonna name the boys from old Magic Grease. The couple from Miletus. Feldegriff.
No, we're going all the way back to alliances.
Feldegriff is a strong 0 from me.
What?
Don't approach a hippo. More people die because of hippos than they do from sharks. More people die. Hippos are dangerous, and Feldegriff isn't supposed to look friendly. Feldegriff, first of all, Feldegriff, have you seen Rachel Weeks play her Feldegriff deck? That thing is destructive. That thing can tank everybody so easily. It's like it's not even friggin' trying, but it's so complicated and it gets you in a sneaky way. Just like a hug from Feldegriff would kill you. That's a 0. 0 out of 10. I'm not alive after that hug, so I can't rate it.
Mike, you're an absolute coward. You know that? 0 out of 10. You wouldn't hug a hippo?
No.
You're smart, but you're
Give me
also a coward.
a baby hippo, a little guy that won't kill me. I'll cradle him in my arms like a little baby. I'll give him a little nuzzle. Sure.
You don't know how big the Feldegriff is.
No, I think in scale it looks like a full. Nah. The scale makes it look like a big old thing. No. You can't hit me with small. The moon's in the background. It looks like it's on a hill. Nuh-uh.
The moon is always in the background.
The moon is honestly not always in the background. We've had cards.
What does that mean? The moon is in the background. You're going to use the moon
is big
in the sky to determine how big something is?
You know what? As an Italian, I thought you would understand that the moon in the eye would mean so much more to us. Look, Feldegriff is a 0. I'm not going to justify it any more than I already have. Don't make me say it again. I will die if I hug the hippo. Either of
I'm gonna
joy
rate it a 10
or danger.
just to offset your hubris.
Oh, go yourself.
Morgan, it looks like you're the tiebreaker. Perhaps you're the one with 3 votes this time.
Wow. Look
so
at us
how
go.
does it feel, Solani, to have all this power between us finally with voting math? Doesn't it feel good?
I feel like
a mutiny on our podcast? It's not like we're not a team, you dinks.
I feel like Winston Smith with all the power in the world to overthrow the government.
Wait, who's Winston
But do you
Smith?
have the power to overthrow the purple hippo with wings? I don't think so. I would hug the Feldegriff. 10 out of 10.
We
Winston
did it.
Smith?
Finally, we did
It's
it.
that easy. This is just politics, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But
all right.
That's
your
it.
ratings. Your ratings.
Oh,
Mike.
from 1984.
What are you, Baron MW?
For all the listeners who are wondering, Winston Smith, why do I know that? It's from 1984, the book. You're welcome.
Nobody knows what that is.
I mean, look,
Nobody
some
knows what a book
nerds
is.
remember things, all right? Michael is one
Nobody
of those
remembers
nerds.
books, Mark.
I'm
I don't
sorry I had
remember.
an education, Mike. I'm sorry.
I had, to be fair, I read it in French in high school. So it was
You read it in French?
I went to a French high school, you ding dong. Of course I read it in French.
But you know English. It was written by an English author.
Yeah, but I read it in French for high school. Not just like, oh, let me grab this book for fun. No, it was foisted onto me by a French teacher going, you guys got to read this. And I read it in French, understood basically nothing because I was already dealing with the tenuous grasp on another language anyway. And then I was like, you know what? I did this already. I'm not doing this again in the language I understand. So now I Wikipedia summaries of books I've already technically read. So what? What? Too much vulnerability on your Magic podcast? Yeah, I'm afraid of rabbits.
Okay,
Get a load of this oligarchical collectivist over here.
What the
so a quick aside before we get to our last huggable, hopefully, commander is that Mark sent me his itinerary for MagicCon Chicago because I picked him up from the airport.
Mhm.
and he sent me a screenshot of his departure and arrival times. And I saw that they were in a language I did not understand because I was born and raised in the good old USA. And I thought he had been scammed because I'm like, what language is this? This is not, what is an aerial plane? And then I realized it was in French. Yeah. And I was very impressed because I don't know the English very well. And I definitely don't know other languages well either. So it was a humbling moment for me.
Yeah. Well, heads up, everybody. You're learning a lot about me, all right? Yeah, I speak French. Obviously. Quand j'ai grandi à Montréal, c'est sérieux, là? C'est moi qui parle en français en ce moment. Ah, check bien! Ah, check bien tout le monde qui écoute plus parce que je parle en français. Ben oui, fais-le bien. Fais-le bien que je parle en français sur mon podcast, c'ti. Anyway, nobody understands what that means. And those who do, comment on YouTube or whatever.
None of those words are in the Bible.
Yeah, none of them are in the Bible. And honestly, I spoke with a Quebecois accent, so our French listeners are going to have a real hard time with that. They're going to hate it. Anyway, who's our number one?
I'll make sure that Arnaud checks it out and eviscerates you on the YouTube comments.
Thanks, Arnaud. All right, hit us with the last one, Morgan.
All right. So this is going to be just unanimous agreement. This is going to be our group hug between all of us. This is our hyper 30 out of 30 possible points. It's Kainos and Tiro of Miletus.
Okay. Well, I mean, they seem very lovely and like they care a lot about each other. And will they care about me wanting a hug? Probably, but will they take off their armor for the hug? Because that looks really hard and uncomfortable. All these factors, I'm going to go with an 8. Gonna go with an 8. They seem nice.
Morgan, how dare you?
What?
How dare you not pick Glunch as our last?
Okay, I was thinking about it,
bro.
Because you know what? I don't want to hug a jellyfish.
Glunch?
I want to hug some hot Greek dudes. Is that so bad?
Look, I asked the two of them.
If you want to hug a jellyfish, you can tell everybody you want to hug a jellyfish.
And they said yes, but they were talking about their theism.
Oh, Michael, jeez. Is this what we've come to? Michael.
The jellyfish?
Was a beautiful joke, Mike. You cannot deny that.
No, it was a well done pun, and that's the problem.
Not the well done pun.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Listen, this is like power couple extraordinaire. I don't like you if you don't like those two. I'm sorry. There's something wrong with you if you don't see the flavor text, you don't see the card, you don't see the art, and you're like, yep, 11 out of 10.
Morgan, get Dakota in here right now and ask his opinion on those two.
He'll say the same
thing.
He'll
say the exact same thing. Speaking of good hugs.
How do you know this, Mike?
Speaking of, because it's a vibe thing. Speaking of good hugs, Dakota gives a great hug. That man can.
Oh, did you hug him?
Of course. In Chicago,
I love
very
that.
nice. Also, hey, they weren't talking about polyamory. They were talking about polytheism. That's the energy that has.
You just took my joke.
I know. I said it that way.
You stole my joke.
So now you hear
He steals our votes. He steals our jokes.
I tried to get you to repeat it, Michael. It's not like I didn't try. Anyway.
Okay, those drums are gone.
I have too much going on the soundboard.
Right, what's all this then?
Guys, that's it for today's episode of the Bolcast. We are going to bed. That's gonna be it.
Preferably the bed that has Kainos and Tyros in it.
Oh, Michael, talk about being a little bit
you mean Glunch?
Zadru.
I'm sorry, Solani. You mean the bed with Glunch in it?
No. That's for the After Dark version of the podcast.
What is happening? Can we just say bye for real? What is happening, everybody?
Bye for real.
Bye for real. Make sure to follow Morgan at Indigo Gentleman. Make sure to follow Michael at GamesFreak SA. That's the letters SA. And you can check out gamesfreaksa.info for all Michael Solani related projects. And you can find me at Mike Carrozza, MikeCarrozza, for on Twitter and Instagram. I've got a link tree. Check that out. You've got comedy videos, you got my article series, and you've got events for more comedy shows in the future. Don't forget to follow us at Am I the Bolcast on Twitter and email in at amithebowless@gmail.com to share your story with us for the podcast or for the column. That'll do it for us tonight. It's time to scoot the day. Did I remember it? I remembered it, baby. You're damn right. It's time to go.